Have you ever wondered about the dynamics of your relationship and if there are underlying signals you might be missing? I know I have. I dated someone who seemed perfect on the outside, but little inconsistencies in her stories and actions made me think something wasn't quite right. It wasn't until I started paying more attention to certain subtle cues that I started to get a full picture of her past. Relationships are complicated, and sometimes small clues can help us learn more about our partner's past. In this video, we'll look at 10 signs that may mean your partner has had more than one sexual partner. By recognizing these signs, you'll learn important things about how your relationship works and be able to handle them with clarity and confidence. If you can, please watch until the end to find these important lessons and learn how to use them in your own life before we start. If you liked the movie, please spread the Stoic philosophy. If you haven't already, I recommend that you subscribe and turn on the bell so that you don't miss any shows. If you like the topic of this video, please leave a comment on number 1. If you don't, please leave a comment on number 0 so I can make a better video for you. Now, let's start with number 1. Has she ever been so comfortable with physical intimacy that it made you feel more worried than excited? Maybe your first intimate encounter wasn't just amazing. It felt like she had done it a million times before, while you were expecting a wonderful experience. Did she show an unsettling level of comfort and boldness with physical intimacy, taking the lead with ease that caught you off guard? If she's comfortable and sure of herself around physical closeness, it could mean she has had a lot of experiences in the past. Instead of starting the conversation, she may have taken the lead, showing that she knows how to do it well. An experienced partner might not be afraid to cuddle, kiss, or even try new things, showing a level of comfort that goes beyond what you'd expect from a beginner. If you're sensitive, you might be able to tell if this familiarity comes from real love or a past of many meetings. But it's important not to jump to conclusions based on this observation alone, because it might make people think there's only one thing to think. Some people naturally exude confidence and skill in bed without having had many sexual encounters. Because of this, it's important to pay attention to other signs and cues to see if she is really the right partner for you. Number 2. Avoids emotional closeness in relationships because they are so hard. Emotional closeness is a cornerstone that provides comfort during hard times and strengthens the bond between two people. However, even the most devoted people need emotional support from time to time, and they turn to their partner in the hopes of finding comfort and connection in their relationship. Deep spiritual connection and the ability to offer emotional support are two things that make relationships last and help two people get through life's storms. But what if, no matter how hard you try to connect emotionally, all you hear is silence? What if your partner's physical presence hides an emotional absence? Do you feel like you're floating in a sea of emotions and words that you haven't shared with them? Behaviors like avoiding deep emotional talks could be a sign of a man who is in a lot of relationships. If a woman has been in multiple relationships before, she may avoid emotional intimacy and keep her feelings at arm's length. But how can you tell if this avoidance of emotional connection is on purpose? Imagine trying to have an honest conversation with her only to find her steer the conversation towards lighter, more surface-level topics, or quickly change the subject alto. It's as if she's afraid to go into deeper waters because she's emotionally vulnerable. This evasion can leave you feeling emotionally empty, because you don't know if her reticon is due to a lack of interest or a deeper emotional wound. If you're feeling this way, it might be time to reevaluate your approach, but before you jump to conclusions, think about the possibility that her guarded demeanor is based on past emotional pain. Reserved patience and a willingness to dig deeper may show the emotional layers hiding beneath her surface, throwing light on whether her hesitance is just a temporary sign or a sign of a deeper reluctance to connect in these murky waters. It's important to remember that empathy and understanding are key to building a stronger emotional bond with someone. If you look into their complicated past, you can often find clues about their romantic journey. Inconsistencies in this story can be a sign of a complicated past. Imagine that months have passed and you are still not sure about her past. The information she gives you isn't clear, leaving you with more questions than answers. Sometimes she drops the names of several people, leaving you to put together parts of a romantic antic saga. One day she tells stories about ex-lovers with vivid clarity. The next day, she tells a different story. Sometimes she talks lovingly about an ex-lover in one breath, and then refuses having a relationship with them in the next, whether it's clear or not. If you have doubts about the truth of her story, it's like going through a maze of half-truths and contradictions and not knowing which way leads to clarity. But it's important to remember that not everyone finds comfort in. Some people choose to focus on making new connections instead of dwelling on relationships that are over. If these contradictions make you feel uneasy or scared, you might want to take a closer look at what you should do in this delicate situation. You might want to have an honest conversation with her about her past. Do this with sincerity and compassion, and ask for clarification on the issues that have come up. This will give her a chance to share insights into her journey. Pay close attention to what she says and how she acts. You can tell she's committed to being honest if she fills in the blanks in your story with warmth and clarity. On the other hand, if her answers keep falling apart, leaving you with unanswered questions, you might start to wonder if your relationship is still possible. But be careful not to jump to conclusions too quickly, remembering that getting through the complicated world of human relationships takes time and honest talk. It takes a careful balance of kindness and discernment to help Blossom figure out her past, by giving her a safe place to tell her story honestly and creating an atmosphere of trust and understanding. You make it possible for deeper connections to form between you. Remember that relationships are built on trust and openness, and that true understanding grows through honest conversation and self-reflection. Did these signs strike a chord with you? Let's have a serious conversation about it. And if you're ready to live a life of virtue and wisdom, subscribe for more content. Like this, have you been the victim of 4 frequent last-minute schedule changes? Has she repeatedly canceled plans at the last minute, leaving you feeling angry and blocked? It can be harder to deal with sudden changes in plans than the stock market. But have you stopped to think about why this keeps happening? It's easy to understand why plans change. Sometimes when unexpected things happen, the fact that these delays keep happening brings up important issues. When something goes wrong once in a while, it's one thing. But when delays happen all the time, things need to be looked into more closely. What's really telling is that she usually gives unclear reasons for these cancellations. She might say it's because of a quick increase in work obligations, or an unexpected friend coming to town, but she won't say anything else. If someone is vague like this, it's important to be aware that she might value other obligations more than your relationship. This could mean that her goals aren't balanced, but sometimes someone has to take the lead. With a busy schedule full of unexpected events, it's important to figure out if these cancellations are really emergencies, or just because she doesn't value your time and presence in her life. Being honest with her about this issue is important. It's a good idea to talk to her in an open and cool way about how the frequent delays are hurting your relationship. Try to find out more about the reasons behind these quick changes. These things will help you understand how important it is to care about and respect each other in order to have a good relationship. Straight on, you make way for meaningful conversation and resolution, give you a chance to remind each other how important the relationship is, and set clear rules for what is and isn't okay to do. Remember that good communication is the key to a happy relationship and will help you get through tough times while strengthening the bond you share. Partners in the building. A web of ties. Comparing people to others often shows how difficult their love life is. A woman in her first relationship sees her partner through the lens of pure devotion, not seeing any similarities to other flames she has been in the past. On the other hand, if she has been in more than one relationship before, things from the past may unintentionally show up in comparisons with her current partner. This mixing of the past and present can happen in small but telling ways. Like when she thinks about the tasty beef steak you cooked at home and compared it to the cooking skills of a former lover, or she might show admiration for an activity you haven't suggested, bringing up memories of time spent with a former partner during times of conflict. She may also compare your flaws to those of her ex-partner without meaning to, leaving you feeling inadequate and full of self-doubt. It's normal to doubt the sincerity of your connection and the depth of her past experiences when you compare these things. But it's important to remember that your worth is not based on comparisons to others. Instead of seeing these comparisons as signs of your flaws, you should see them as signs that you are good enough. See them as records of her trip and experiences. A lot of people who've been in a lot of relationships use past relationships as comparison points. But you should stand up for yourself and refuse to be seen as just another contender. If her comparisons keep reminding you of her ex-boyfriend, it might be time to reevaluate your relationship and stand up for your worth as a person who deserves your full attention and respect. It's important to build a relationship based on mutual respect and appreciation so that comparisons don't happen. When you stand up for yourself and don't let the past hold you back, you open the door to a relationship based on honesty and unwavering confidence. Remember that you are not just another man. You are a unique person who deserves love and attention in your own right. Very private about using a phone. Have you noticed a small change in the way your partner acts when their phone rings? It could be that their phone is their most prized treasure, which they hold with a guarded protectiveness. If you're close by, you might notice that they quickly turn their phone over or switch screens whenever they sense that you're there. The fact that they are so focused on their device could make you wonder how they talk to each other and how open they are. Number 7 is about how someone looks, which is similar to how her phone is kept secret. Paying close attention to how your partner looks may give you more information about her mind, especially if she spends a lot of time primping and preening, checking her mirror all the time, or complimenting other people on how they look all the time. These behaviors show that a person is very focused on how they look. There is something good about being proud of how you look, but the constant focus on physical allure may be a sign of deeper motives. I wonder if her focus on physical beauty makes her forget how important inner qualities and emotional connection are in relationships. Could it be that her need for physical perfection is more important to her than her need for real emotional closeness? At first glance, there may not seem to be a connection between her fixation on physical beauty and her love life. However, a closer look reveals that her fixation on beauty may have come from a history of shallow relationships. In other words, she may have learned to value physical attraction over emotional depth by viewing relationships through the lens of shallowness instead of substance. Comparing her physical traits to those of ex-partners or random acquaintances shows that she is stuck on superficial traits and doesn't want to have deep emotional talks. She gets stuck in a cycle of unimportant similarities that keep telling her a story that has nothing to do with the other thing. You should be open and honest about how the shallow nature of your relationships makes you feel and how it affects your sense of security and self-worth. Talk about what's really going on and set clear limits in the relationship. It's important to stress how important it is to build real emotional closeness and mutual respect that goes beyond physical appearance. Personality traits can affect behavior, but it's just as important to make sure that they don't get in the way of a healthy relationship. By tackling these issues head-on and pushing for authenticity and depth, you pave the way for a relationship based on mutual understanding and genuine connection. Don't forget that accepting your flaws should never come at the cost of being emotionally close and being respected in a partnership. To be quiet, you should be moderate with sex and beauty, and you should focus on your inner virtues instead of your outer wants. This can be done by being self-controlled and getting good traits. Stoics believe that people can be happier and more fulfilled in life. Sexual health. A lot of people don't want to talk about their sexual health. It can be awkward to talk about sex, but every pair needs to talk about their sexual health. The subject of sexual. If you and your partner talk about sexual health, you can make sure you both agree on safe sexual practices and feel free to talk about your sexual wants and needs. But what if your partner doesn't want to talk about sexual health? If she doesn't want to talk about her sexual health, it might make people worry and wonder why she did what she did. She might not want to talk about it because she's shy, but that's not likely if she's been through a lot. Instead, she might not want to talk about it because of deeper problems that have something to do with her past. For example, if she's been with multiple partners, she might not want to talk about her sexual history or birth control choices because she's afraid of getting STDs or being judged for them. Meeting to talk about sexual health should be a top concern for both partners. It's good for her health, and can help you understand her past relationships. Going forward, it's important to be direct and stress how important it is to talk about these things openly and honestly in the relationship. When you bring up the subject, watch her reaction. If she is willing to talk about her worries, that's a good sign of openness and growth in her. On the other hand, if she gets angry or gives vague answers, that could mean there are deeper problems that need to be dealt with. In the end, it's important for both people to be able to talk about sexual health clearly and understand each other in order to keep the relationship healthy and stable. Sickness and pain. Introducing you to their friends. Getting to know your partner's friends is an important part of any relationship because it lets you connect with people who are important to them and learn more about their social circle. But if your partner hesitates or actively avoids introducing you to their friends, it could mean that there are problems in the relationship that need to be dealt with. If your partner consistently refuses to introduce you to their friends for vague or changing reasons when the subject comes up, it's not a good sign. The way she acts is a clear sign that she might be keeping important parts of her life from you, since real partners usually love including their partners in many parts of their lives, like social circles. Fear of past disclosures or worries about possible conflicts from past relationships are some of the reasons she might not want to introduce you to her friends. For example, she might be afraid that her friends who know about her romantic history will accidentally share private details. On the other hand, she might be afraid of running into people from past relationships, which could make your interactions more difficult. If she refuses or avoids friend introductions, it is very important not to ignore these actions. Start by telling your partner the truth about your desire to understand why she doesn't want to do what you want. Have an open mind and try to understand what is being said. Good ideas instead of fights. You can better understand her ideas and reasons if you talk to her directly about the problem. You might want to try other ways to learn more about her social circle, such as starting conversations with people you both know or slowly pushing her to talk more about her friends over time. To get past the awkwardness of meeting new people, you need to be patient, understand, and respect each other. If you create an environment that encourages honest conversation, you can work through these problems together and strengthen the foundation of your relationship. Remember that honesty and open communication are key to building trust and mutual understanding. The 10th change in goals: shifting goals that don't include you. Now we'll talk about the last and possibly most important sign that she may have had more than one sexual partner. When we're together, our partner usually comes first. They play a big role in our lives and take precedence over other commitments and activities. This is how mind works in people. If you feel like you're always being pushed to the side for other things, it could mean that she is still giving her attention to more than one person. Of course, she may have good reasons for changing her priorities like work or personal hobbies. Ignorance that lasts for a long time can lead to real fears. When she spends all of her free time making new friends, canceling plans she had with you, or doing hobbies that don't involve you, you might feel ignored and undervalued. These actions can make you wonder if her stated priorities are real. To figure out what these changes mean, it's important to look at the bigger picture and any signs that might back up your doubts. If you've seen other signs that she's been with other people before, it might be easier to see that you're not her only focus. However, you should go into this evaluation with a clear head and not jump to conclusions. Take some time to look at how the relationship is working and learn more about her past and present situations. Talk about your worries in an open and honest way, and make sure everyone knows what you expect from them. Setting goals and being committed to each other. To make the best decision, think about how comfortable and happy you are in the relationship. If she does things that make you feel unappreciated or unsure of her commitment, it could be a sign of deeper problems that need to be looked into further. Trust your gut and put your emotional health first. Remember that relationships need honesty, respect, and real investment from both people. If you're giving up on your values or settling for less than you earn, it might be time to look at the relationship again and find a way to reach your long-term goals. You deserve to be with someone who values you and makes you a top concern in their life. Stoicism tells people to be stoic in real life. Be aware of their libido and how they look. Discipline and a focus on inner virtue rather than wants from the outside world by learning virtue and self-control. Stoics believe that people can find more happiness and fulfillment in their lives by practicing Stoicism in real life. Stoicism is more than just a way of looking at things. It's also a way of living a good life, especially when it comes to heart problems and specific worries about a woman's past. Instead of dwelling on her past, Stoicism gives her a new point of view to become silent, focus on herself, and grow as a person. First and foremost, you need to become very aware of yourself. Don't let her past events affect your values. This is not a judgment, but a clear-eyed look at how well they'll get along. Acceptance is the next thing that Stoicism supports. Everyone has a different past, and it's important to see how that past has made her who she is today. The question is, can you truly accept her past without having grudges or making assumptions about it? This doesn't mean putting up with everything, but it does mean realizing that people change and grow from what they go through. Stoicism also stresses how important it is to live in the present. The past can't be changed, but life happens in the present. What matters most is how she acts and what choices she makes today, along with how you both move forward. Being stuck in the past slows down growth and makes it hard to make decisions. Winners keeping their feelings in check. Feelings like anger, jealousy, and insecurity are normal, but they can cloud our judgment and lead us to make bad decisions. To see things clearly and wisely, keep your mind calm and logical. This doesn't mean hiding your feelings, but rather knowing where they come from and choosing how to deal with them by following these Stoic principles. It's important to remember that you shouldn't judge her past. Instead, you should give yourself the tools to make smart decisions and build a future based on shared values, mutual respect, and real connection. As we come to the end of our look at the signs that someone has had multiple sexual partners, it's important to think about what we've learned and how we can use it in our own lives. We've looked at 10 different signs, ranging from subtle behavioral cues to more obvious patterns, all of which can teach us something useful about how relationships work now. I'd like to know what you, the audience, found most interesting about today's talk. Was there a certain sign that spoke to you, or did you learn something new? A different view. Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. As we try to figure out how to handle the complexities of relationships and personal connections, it's important to stay alert and aware of the signs that may point to deeper truths. By recognizing these signs and responding to them with honesty and integrity, we give ourselves the power to build healthy, fulfilling relationships. Please leave a comment below if you liked this video and thought it made you think. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos that will make you think. Thanks for watching, and until next time, be careful and mindful in your relationships.